I feel really fortunate to be able to share the room and the stage tonight with so many folks doing impactful and important and impressive work. And so I hope what I will share in terms of the project and the work that is being done outside or inside the UCI Care office is something that will also be impactful and important for you as well. I do think my strategy backfired. I was sharing with Professor Goodwin earlier that I chose a later time slot because I did not want to follow her. I did not want to speak after Michelle Goodwin. But now I'm a little uncomfortable and nervous about speaking after all of the other wonderful presenters and hoping I can do this justice. For those who don't know, the UCI Care office is the office on campus that provides confidential services for members of our community who've been impacted by power-based personal violence. And I want to start with a statement that I think we all can agree on just to get us on the same page. I think we can all agree that we deserve, and our community deserves, to live, work, study, and socialize in a space that is free from violence. And that statement that we can all agree on is what brings us together and creates buy-in for us to do the important work of not just responding to violence within our community, but working to end violence. So a little bit different than some of the other presentations tonight, our project focuses on actually 5 areas, and I'm going to briefly touch on the 5th one. But we're not doing a single project. We're not doing a single set of research. We are really working to expand some of our current programming offerings and looking to ensure that we are doing so in a way that looks at things through an intersectional lens and uplifts the voices of culturally and community-specific groups who have not had their voices uplifted before. And so our 4-pronged activities, that approach that we are engaging in this year with our OEI monies, include 2 aspects of training, 1 aspect of healing for folks who've been directly impacted, and then our zine project, which is up and coming for the fall, is about letting folks who've been impacted share their voices and elevate their experiences in yet another healing type activity. So first, bystander intervention. CARE has been offering and implementing our Green Dot bystander intervention for a number of years now. It was originally part of a larger grant from the Office of Violence Department of Justice, and that is now institutionalized. And so the additional monies that we have been awarded have allowed us to continue to expand that. So instead of the old adage of if you see something, say something, what we are really working on doing is providing people with skills and knowledge and strategies, and also having deeper conversations about what it means to be part of specific communities who might not feel safe accessing certain resources, whether they be institutional, whether they be criminal justice systems, whether they be administrative processes, and what alternate options, what alternate interventions and strategies can we brainstorm together to ensure people get connected to the support and information and resolutions that they want and need. Our second training approach involves our wonderful campus and community partners. Also now an institutionalized piece of our former OVW grant is our coordinated community response team. And on a quarterly basis, several times, we get together with anywhere from 40 to 60 representatives from all over campus and all different departments, but also our community partners, our Sexual Assault Community Center, Waymakers, Human Options, Laura's House, local law enforcement agencies. And we come together and we do trainings and discussions, and we learn about the different work that all of those groups that are doing so that we can support one another, cross-promote, and collaborate when appropriate. And so funding from our OEI project has enabled us to bring in some really wonderful trainers and speakers Most recently, during Black History Month, we had a former colleague, now at Cal State Fullerton, come and talk to all of our partners about barriers to support and resources that folks in the Black community might face. And what can we do in our individual and collective roles to reduce those barriers so that folks feel more comfortable and able to access resources. Our third project, which I'm glad to say, Marguerite, we used all the money, and then we found permanent money to keep it going. And our wonderful advocate, Rasta, is actually here in the audience, and I want to give them a bunch of the credit for really expanding our healing library within the care office. And during pandemic times, we really had to pivot the way in which we offered both advocacy services, programs, education, healing opportunities for people. And now, even as we're entering endemic, because I know pandemic's not really over, we're doing what we can do here, right? We still are offering programs and services and supports in a variety of formats to really accommodate people where they're at, what they're comfortable with, and to reach as many folks as we can. So our healing library that has now been expanded, we do have physical copies of those books, but Rasta has worked really hard to connect with UCI libraries. And so there are also digital versions that folks can check out in ebooks. There are audio books. If folks have a disability, either auditory or visual, we can work to ensure that they have access to those materials so that they can read. It also means people don't have to cross the threshold of our office to gain support and healing resources. They can take that book, or they can download that book or check out that book, and they can take it back into the spaces where maybe community care is more appropriate, or they want to process that with a family member, or they want to talk about that with a friend. It doesn't necessarily have to be sit down in the office and talk with an advocate about the content that you're reading. Folks can take those tools into any space that feels comfortable and appropriate. And then lastly, we are going to be partnering with Dr. Shepard on implementing a zine project. Zines historically have been used to further social movements, to get messages out, to share personal accounts, stories, poetry, artwork, lyrics, whatever that looks like, to heal and to affect change. And so in the fall quarter, we will be implementing that zine project as well under our holistic healing programs within the office. What is not up here, but is just as valuable, is we have been able to hire 3 student staff with stipends for the entire academic year. Not only does that support the work and mission of the office, it also enables us to support students in their own professional and development and growth. Many of the peer educators, interns, student staff from the care office go out into the field and work at local agencies or other colleges and universities doing anti-violence work. And so we feel really, really privileged to be able to offer them a more formal type of experience so that they can develop those skills and that knowledge to really further both their career and to take the message and messages that they learn here outside of UCI. We don't want it to get stuck here. We want people to take this information and knowledge out into the other spaces they will live and occupy and work in so that the change continues and that ripple effect moves outside of this community into other communities. So thank you very much.